What if I told you the sky was falling? Would you believe me? Let's get it.
Welcome to FaZe Fantasy Live with your host, Lonnie Z.
What's going on? Welcome to the show, everyone. I'm Lonnie Z, your host. Today we have a short show. We're just going to be talking about something that was really on my mind, and I really wanted to get it off my chest. Sometimes I get tired of hearing all the good hype and the bad hype before a real game has even been played. We're going to be talking about Skyy Moore today. Now, Skyy Moore had a lot of great reviews. I did a couple of breakdowns on him. He's one of my top rookies. Matter of fact, he is my number one rookie that you have to draft. And so in training camp, he's had a little problems, according to some of the reports or reporters, that he's dropped all the way down to wide receiver 4 on the depth chart. And everyone's going crazy. This last draft that I just had, I picked him up in the 8th round. And because I didn't want to wait longer, I want him on my team. So now they're saying that thousands of fantasy owners are dropping him throughout the nation. So he's being dropped like, yesterday's news. That's great news for you and for me. My up and coming drafts, now I can get them later. I remember last season when Jamar Chase, he was the 5th pick overall. And there was nothing but hype coming out about how great he was going to be and how he was going to be reunited with Joe Burrow, his boy from college, and it was going to be all great and gravy. 5th pick overall. His stock was very, very high. And then training camp came, and he had a couple of drop balls. They said he was having trouble figuring out the routes and the playbook. And so he got that stigma going all through training camp, that this guy is going to be a bust. He was the 5th pick overall, and now he's probably going to be a bust. So come game 1 against the Minnesota Vikings, he scores a touchdown. But prior to him scoring a touchdown, all the announcers did was talk about him dropping passes in training camp and how they weren't sure if he was going to translate to the NFL, blah, blah, blah. Well, I took advantage of all that bad pub because I did my research on Jamar Chase last year. And I knew he was going to be good. Now, I'm not going to say I knew he was going to be as good as he was, but I knew he was going to be good. I knew the situation he was coming into was very good and very healthy for him because he was going to be reunited with Joe Burrow, and they had won a championship, a national title in college. And so this was just a really good situation for him. He was already a very, very good athlete. So his athleticism and his skill was never in question. I took advantage of the bad pub. I picked him up in the 8th round or later in all my leagues last year, and I ended up with a, top 5 fantasy wide receiver. This year, the way my draft went, he was my first pick at pick number 9. He was the best available player there at number 9, so I grabbed him. And I'm going to try and pick him up again in all my leagues, Jamar Chase. I see no difference here with Skyy Moore. I'm not saying Skyy Moore is the next Jamar Chase. But I am saying, based on my research and studying of this kid and what I believe Andy Reid knows, he is set up in a situation to succeed, period. And they can say all they want that, he dropped to the 4th receiver, wide receiver 4 on the depth chart. That doesn't really matter much. Preseason doesn't tell the story. No coach shows all their cards in preseason. And so you got the hype about how he's fallen so bad, and everyone's dropping him off their team. I'm telling you right now, his stock could never be lower. But you know what billionaires do when the stock market is crashing? They stay cool, calm, and collected, and they buy up all the stock at a very cheap rate because everyone else is screaming that the world's going to end, and they're selling. And so the market drops, and the billionaires swoop on in and they buy up all the stock. That's where Skyy Moore is right now. Go pick him up. Grab him. He's going to be okay. He's going to be fine. His competition is McCole Hardman and Marquise Valdez-Scantling. Let's just really think about that. These two guys have had ample opportunity in their careers to be true wide receiver twos or ones, but neither one of them have been able to do it. And there's a reason for that. And they've both played with elite quarterbacks, Aaron Rodgers and Patrick Mahomes. So I wouldn't worry too much about Skyy Moore and the reports that are coming out. I think Andy Reid is very smart. You know, they made a big deal. Oh, Skyy Moore was not targeted in the last preseason game. Who cares? Oh, he had 51 yards total for special teams. You know who else had a lot of special teams play before they just really blew up? Before by midpoint of the season, everyone was trying to get this guy on their fantasy team in the waiver wire. Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill was returning punts. He was doing a lot of special team stuff before he started getting recognized for his receiving ability. And then all of a sudden, everyone's flocking to get him. Don't be that person waiting around on the waiver wire to pick up Skyy Moore. Go get him. If they've dropped him in your league, find the last guy you drafted or find someone that you can drop and pick him up, because you may be picking up a top 10 fantasy wide receiver. This guy's going to be good. Trust me on it. He's going to take over that receiving core by the end of the season. He'll be either wide receiver 2 or wide receiver 1. I still don't have a ton of faith in Juju Smith-Schuster either. And you're getting a lot of good reports out of camp about Juju, but you got to think about it. They have to report good on this guy because they just paid him a bunch of money. So, don't believe the hype. Don't believe all the noise that you hear coming out of these training camps, and these writers and these people are really trying to get a negative story out, because that's what sells. That's what gets the attention. Negativity always is going to pique the interest a little bit more than what positive stories would do. I'm telling you right now, I've done the research. You do your research and you trust it. Go out, get Skyy Moore, and win your league. Catch you on the next one.